Elias Monroe lived alone, and that was just the way he liked it. His ranch sat on the edge of a wide New Mexico canyon, where the desert stretched for miles and the wind spoke louder than people ever could. Years ago, a fire had stolen everything from him. His wife, his boy, his smile. Since then, he'd built a life of silence and routine. The land didn't pry, and neither did the cattle. Every day mirrored the one before. Up at sunrise, feed the horses, check the fences, ride the land, mend what was broken. At night, he'd sit by the fire with black coffee, letting the crackle of the flames drown out thoughts better left buried. Folks from Silver Creek called him quiet, some said cold. Elias didn't care. Talking never fixed anything. It was late one summer evening when everything shifted. The sky was bleeding orange as the sun sank low, shadows stretching long across the sand. He was riding back from the far pasture when he spotted something in the wash ahead. At first, he thought it was just a heap of old cloth, but as his horse slowed, he realized it was a woman. She was collapsed against the dry earth, her dress torn, her skin scraped raw by the desert. For a second, Elias thought she was dead. Then her chest rose, shallow like a candle guttering in the wind. He almost rode past. He wasn't in the habit of rescuing strays, human or otherwise, but something in the way she clung to life, stubborn as the mesquite roots that split stone, made him stop. He dismounted, crouched beside her. "Ma'am?" His voice was rough from disuse. Her lips moved, but no sound came. Her skin was hot, fevered from heat and thirst. Elias cursed under his breath, grabbed his canteen, and lifted her head gently. She drank in broken gulps, water spilling down her chin. Her eyes fluttered open, dark and stormy, locking on his. For a heartbeat, Elias felt something stir he thought he'd buried with the ashes of his old life. "Easy," he muttered, more to himself than her. He hauled her onto his horse, cradling her slight frame against him as he rode back. The ride felt longer than usual, each hoofbeat carrying a weight Elias hadn't invited. By the time he laid her on his couch, her breathing had steadied, though her body was weak as a shadow. For the next 2 days, Elias tended her. He cleaned her cuts, spooned broth between her lips, and sat awake through nights listening to her ragged breaths. He told himself it was duty, nothing more. But when she finally woke, truly woke, and whispered, "Where am I?" something cracked open in him. "My ranch," Elias answered simply, "near Silver Creek." She blinked, trying to focus. "I'm Mara." The name carried a weight he couldn't place, like a song half forgotten. She didn't offer more, and Elias didn't ask. A man who lived with ghosts didn't press others to share theirs. Mara stayed, at first because she was too weak to leave, later because she didn't seem to want to. She helped with small chores, feeding chickens, sweeping the porch, even mending a shirt Elias had worn near to rags. She laughed sometimes, soft and low, and Elias found himself listening for it the way a thirsty man listens for water. The town whispered, of course. Silver Creek always did. Folks said the widow Monroe had finally found company, though no one knew where she came from. Elias ignored the talk. What mattered was that when he sat by the fire at night, he wasn't always alone anymore. But the desert has a way of testing every fragile thing. Trouble came in the form of riders, 3 men, hard-eyed, with guns hanging loose at their sides. They showed up at Elias's gate one morning, dust rising like smoke behind them. "We're looking for a woman," their leader said, his grin sharp as barbed wire. "Goes by Mara." Elias's jaw tightened. "Ain't no one here by that name." The man chuckled. "That so? Funny, 'cause word in town says otherwise." Mara stood in the doorway, pale but steady. "Leave, Jace," she said, her voice flat. Elias glanced at her, then back at the men. He saw it then, the fear she carried like a second skin, the reason she'd been half dead in the desert. These weren't strangers. They were her past. Jace tipped his hat. "We'll be back. Don't make us come in after her." When they rode off, Elias turned to Mara. She wouldn't meet his eyes. "You should have told me," he said quietly. I didn't want to bring this to your door, she whispered. But running doesn't end things. I left them, Elias. I couldn't live that life anymore. I'd rather die than go back. He studied her, the woman who'd stumbled into his silence and lit it with something like hope. Elias had lost everything once. He wasn't about to watch it happen again. The next days were tense. Elias oiled his rifle, checked the fences twice over, kept Mara close. Nights they sat in the hush of the desert, waiting for the storm they knew would come. And it did. The riders returned at dawn, guns drawn. What followed was dust and thunder, bullets sparking against stone. Elias fought like a man with nothing left to lose, except this time, he did. Mara fired too, her hands steady, her eyes fierce. When the smoke cleared, two of the riders lay still, and Jace was gone, bleeding into the horizon. Afterward, Elias sat on the porch, the rifle cooling in his hands. Mara leaned against him, trembling. For the first time in years, Elias spoke more than a few words. "You don't have to run anymore," he said. "Not while I'm here." Her fingers curled into his. "And you don't have to be alone." Out in the desert, the wind carried their silence, not heavy this time, but whole. Life didn't return to the way it had been. It couldn't. Some nights, Elias still woke from dreams of fire, heart pounding. Mara still flinched at shadows sometimes, but there was healing, too. In the small things, the way she brewed his coffee strong, the way he taught her to ride, the way laughter found its way back to the ranch. The town kept whispering, but Elias didn't mind. For once, people could say what they liked. He had something stronger than silence now. In the New Mexico desert, where the land seemed endless and the sky even more so, two broken souls had found each other. And though the past never truly let go, the future didn't seem quite so empty anymore. If you've been with me through this story, thank you for listening. What do you think? Did Elias make the right choice letting Mara stay, even knowing her past could bring danger? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss the next one. Until then, take care, and I'll see you in the next story.